Hey guys, what is up? It is No Help and welcome back to another video today. So today I'm going to be reacting to the new video that just kind of got released about the new Jagex CEO talking about his financial plan to sort of save RuneScape in the long term and how they're going to be taking financial cuts in order to make the game last longer. So this has been a huge video that's went pretty viral, so let's check it out. I'll leave this video down below too if you guys want to check it out. Let's just hop right into it.
Hello, John. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
I love the fact that we've come to Cologne to do this meeting, seeing as Jagex is based in Cambridge, which is my hometown as well. So we've come all the way to Germany to meet up. It's typical, really.
I know it's not at all convenient, but I'm
Take a look at that building in the background, bro. That's so cool.
glad we're doing it anyway.
Yeah. You've had quite a turbulent, quite a baptism of fire since taking the CEO role at Jagex. How have you found it?
Yeah, it's been amazing. It still feels like a real privilege. Obviously, I've played these games for 20 years, and I worked here previously about a decade ago. And so
That's something I didn't know, actually. He did used to work at Jagex. And it's something very cool, too, that this CEO has played the game for 20 years. Find another CEO that does this. I was supporting this guy a while back and people were getting mad at me for some reason. I don't even really know why, but I'm pretty happy with a lot of the decisions he's made, and you can see the game's growing even on RuneScape 3, which is pretty much unheard of.
it still feels sort of like coming home. There's a lot of old faces that I recognize. The game's in really good shape, so yeah, it feels good. No regrets. Very happy.
One of the big stories has been the scaling back of monetization, or at least rethinking of monetization. That's been grabbing the headlines. Talk me through the journey. How did you get here?
Okay, the reason that's been grabbing headlines is no other company would ever do something like this. You can tell that this guy genuinely cares about the game because he wants to pull back monetization, and he knows that it's going to cost the company money, right? But in the long term, it's going to be better for the game, because if the growth keeps going up, the players come, right? They'll realize that this game's better than the ones that have microtransactions, right? And they can just survive off membership costs alone, right? And if old school grows, RuneScape 3 grows a little bit too, right? Their new game, Dragon Wilds, grows. It could be insane, man. Like, just picture 5 years from now. It could be insane. We're going to get sailing soon. It's just... yeah.
Oh, crikey. That's a long one. It's a 25-year story, to be totally honest, that sort of peaks in 2013, where a few changes were made to the game. There was a new monetization model that got rolled out.
Evolution of combat.
The one we're all familiar with today. The sort of visual identity of that game had been changing. We're talking, of course, about RuneScape 3 here. Been changing for a little while. And I think many of our players started to feel like they were missing the game of old. And so old school RuneScape was the direct antidote to that.
Yeah.
Kind of a weird take. I actually wasn't missing anything. I played RuneScape. I was like 13 at the time, so I didn't really know anything different, right? And when the Evolution of Combat came out, I was a skiller, not a killer, and I was wondering why all my friends quit the game, to be honest. I was still fishing. I'm like, guys, there's this ability bar. You can drop the fish a lot quicker now. And they were all like, yeah, I don't think you realize. And then now that I've played old school for a while, I've realized they killed the game.
I think some of the challenges that led to the creation of our lovely old school RuneScape product still exist in one form or another inside of RuneScape 3. And so at least myself and the wider team, but mostly the team, have been looking at the way the product currently is, the happiness of players, or where they're finding frustration, and deciding, well, if we believe this game...
I will say this, I did try the necromancy skill that came out on RuneScape 3 a couple years ago, and it was some of the best content that they've ever done, and it kind of showed you how the Evolution of Combat was supposed to work. They just threw it in when we were used to this combat system for years, but with necromancy, it kind of almost made sense in a way. Like, it was really good. I got to 120, and I play old school.
25 years, what do we need to change? And monetization is near the top of that list.
You did some surveys, and there's a possibility of getting fans back if you could make those changes.
Yeah, well, that's it. So we saw in those surveys there was a lot of hope that we could sort of wind back some of the microtransaction approach that we're doing, or augment it to make it a little bit more sustainable and healthy. And there was many people who were quick to say, look, I'd be interested in coming back to RuneScape 3. It's a game I view very fondly and I have a lot of nostalgia for, but that really pushed
the original like CEOs or the original creators anyways, like Andrew and Paul Gower, they said a long time back that like this game would never allow people to buy experience, or like if they had wealth in the real world, it wouldn't like affect anything in the game. They wanted you to actually earn whatever like in the game. And then when the whole microtransactions happened, they kind of felt like they were lying and they left the company, which is so sad because they designed the old school that we know and love.
And so that's one of 2 or 3 things that are commonly cited. And so we saw the responses and we saw the numbers, and we've been running experiments for the last few weeks.
Yeah.
That started with the removal of our kind of treasure hunter is our microtransaction layer.
Nice.
The total removal of that temporarily. That hasn't been done since it was implemented in 2012 or something like this. And so I think we started as we intended.
Weird thing, I remember coming home from school back when 2012, he said, like I was literally 12 or 13 years old. I remember calling my one buddy who told me about RuneScape, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And he was like, click it. I got a lamp and I gained 10 rune crafting levels. And I'm like, what the hell? Like literally.
And really decided to not just ask players, but also make changes in game to see what the results of that are. And the team have been learning for the last 3 or 4 weeks so that we can put some substance behind our own assumptions.
Anything surprised you so far?
Yeah, a few things. I think it can be a tendency sometimes to think, microtransactions bad. Nobody likes it. These are universally unappealing. And we've learned that that's just not the case, actually. That surprised me a little bit. There are many of the players who...
What microtransactions are good? I'm really curious to see what he's going to say.
Quite like elements of what we do and would be sad to see them go. More than I originally assumed. However, the vocal responses that we've got have largely been very positive. There's been a lot of hope, a lot of sort of encouragement for this direction of travel. And I know people are really looking forward to hearing what we come away with, just in the same way that you've just asked.
So he didn't really say. I'm assuming it's something like maybe some of the skins or something. Like I don't know.
Confident are you can maintain the revenue that you need whilst also making the changes to support players? This feels like a very difficult objective you've set yourself.
Because people don't realize how much money RuneScape 3 actually makes. It's like an absurd amount off of these microtransactions. You got to think about why there's so many of these stupid mobile games that were great for like 2 years and then all of a sudden nobody plays them anymore. It's because they added microtransactions. Same as one of my favorite childhood games, Combat Arms. Talked about this a lot in the past. One of the best games ever. Loved it more than any first-person shooter ever. And then microtransactions were in the game, right? The pay to win. So it's the same thing with like RuneScape 3, amazing fucking game, killed with microtransactions, and they better not ever do that to old school.
It is hard. It is. We probably won't maintain the revenue that we currently are when we make these changes. That's the
and the reason I like the CEO is he realizes that if they're not going to be pumping all this bullshit into the game, they're not going to be making the same revenue, and he realizes that.
Truth. But equally, if we're taking a 10, a 15, a 25-year view, some short-term pain is probably worth the restoration of the game.
Yeah, it's not a pump and dump. RuneScape is not just some thing that comes in, right, and you make a shit ton of money for 2 years. So say some random billionaire bought RuneScape, right? They would just be like, well, how can we make this profitable in the next 2 to 3 years? Microtransactions. You can buy gold, you can buy XP, you can do this, you can do that, right? Tons of people would buy it, and that's just like the reality of it. Oh, Iron Man can now buy XP. Like there would be some bullshit that would happen, right? And then the game would die in 2 to 3 years. When this guy wants to see the game thriving in 25.
We can get to that point. And that's the experiment that we're running, and that's the bet that we're hoping to take.
You've launched a new RuneScape game this year. It's Dragon Wilds. Has I got the name right?
It is,
yes, good. I saw it at GDC. I've not played it, but since then. But you shadow dropped it in April. That's quite
interesting. Randomly came up, new game, Dragon Wilds. I literally thought it was an April Fool's joke, and then I'm like, oh shit, this is actually happening. I paid like $30 or $40 for the game. I'm Canadian, so I had to pay a little more than the United States or whatever. But paid for the game, and honestly, it was fucking awesome. I actually got in a car accident recently. Some girl just crashed me into a wall, so I was off work for a couple of weeks. perfect time to play the game, but my back was hurting, so I'm just sitting here like trying to play the game like this. But yeah, man, like the game was fucking amazing. I've never played any of those survival games besides something like Minecraft, so I was pretty new to the genre, and I was addicted, I'll tell you that. I was even saying to like people in my real life, like my dad and stuff, people who don't play RuneScape, I'm like, you would enjoy this game. Like it has RuneScape like stuff in it, like, oh, you craft runes and this and that, and a fire staff and blah blah blah, goblins, right? But like if you don't play RuneScape, you could definitely still enjoy the game, and that's something they killed with that. They killed that. That was such a good game.
Everyone said that's a very high risk strategy. So tell me, why did you? I mean, I guess that you at the time, but you weren't necessarily involved in it. But what was the thinking?
Yeah, no, I'd been involved from behind the scenes. I was on the board for about a year, right? So I'd definitely been following along. But credit to Phil, who really drove a lot of that, and Jesse and the team in Dragon Wilds. Why did we do that? There's a handful of reasons. I think we knew that this was going to be a game first and foremost for RuneScape players, past and present. And those are players, much like myself, that have learned to expect very frequent updates all of the time in a persistent world that will continue.
I think that's the same thing, right? Like he's saying, like a lot of RuneScape players will hype this up, but I've seen people like Asmongold and stuff play it who don't really play RuneScape or anything like that, right? And it went pretty big there. Like there was a pretty big audience for it, and I feel like if you don't play RuneScape, you could still get into it. I remember talking to one of my cousin's fiancés or something, and he even was like, there's some new game called RuneScape Dragon Wilds. Have you played it? I'm like, bro, I play old school RuneScape. Of course I fucking played that game, right? You know what I mean? So it's just kind of it's a weird thing, but like he said it's for RuneScape players. I think it's for more than that, but maybe that's their way of getting it out there, right? Because the RuneScape community is fucking huge.
Continue to grow and improve and get better over time. With Dragon Wilds, what we were launching was an early access product. We'd done a ton of work over multiple years, but the game wasn't finished. So what I didn't want to do is, and we collectively didn't want to do, is create a bunch of hype and fanfare, set expectations really high, for a team of people, a group of people that are already a very high expectation coming from RuneScape and old school RuneScape, and then let people down. So we wanted to make sure we were sensible and humble in the way that we launched it. It's done tremendously well nonetheless, but when we do full content launch next year, you'll see a lot more fanfare and sort of excitement because we've got a fuller product that we can.
That makes so much sense because like old school RuneScape especially, I don't really know too much about RuneScape 3, but like if some little thing happens in the game that people don't agree with, it's just like huge news and like they blame everything, blame Jagex and blah, 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 right? So like the fact that they just kind of like shadow dropped this out of nowhere, right? There was no like, hey, we're doing this. This is the progress. Like sailing, for example, they're showing like every little bit of sailing that's like coming into the game, and I love that. It makes great content for me, and I'm just super excited about the skill. But with something like Dragon Wilds, like if they showed all the progression and then they launched it, people would critique the fuck out of it, right? The fact that they just randomly dropped it and they're like, this is, you know, early access, try it. They did a great job.
And ship and start committing to frequent updates on.
I was going to ask, how is it going? You're happy with it so far? Is it doing what you're looking for it to do at this stage?
I'd say
it's
so.
Done really well. Really well, Chris. Much better, I think, than we anticipated. We hoped we had some sort of very high.
I didn't kill the Abyssal Demon, by the way. I got to like the 3rd place or 4th place. I kind of forget now. It's been months since I played it. But I walked into that one place with the Abyssal Demon, just instantly died, and I just never played it again.
High-end goals, and it surpassed those at early access.
Okay.
And so, you know, the team's in a really good place. I've played a ton of the game. Lots of our players have. And you can see now there's a bunch of RuneScape players saying, I would love to see more and more and more and more in the product. And so 100%. We're furiously developing. We're actively hiring into that team.
Oh, right.
Trying to build out the sort of pipeline of content. But the first priority is committing to delivering everything we've already promised in our pipeline, and that should come late next year.
Interestingly, I still think of old school RuneScape as a new concept, but it's been going, 12 years now?
It's still a weird, the fact that he said that is actually kind of insane because he's like, the old school RuneScape's a new thing, right? And I still kind of think about that too, like, oh yeah, it's the newer version, but it's the older version, right? But like, it's been out longer than the regular RuneScape, and it's a weird like concept to think about because I started playing RuneScape in 2009. So I had 2009, 2010, 11, 12. So I had 4 good years before the Evolution of Combat came out. Right? Maybe 3.5. And now I've been playing old school like for what, 10 plus years now. It's weird.
Yeah, exactly.
But my memories are the fondest on pre-Evolution of Combat.
It's
Old school is actually old school now.
Did I see it did like 200,000 players or something the other weekend? It was a phenomenal
Yeah, you did.
number.
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, this is quite a soft question, but what's made this game so enduring?
That is a soft question. Thank you, Chris.
Fuck you, bro. Like, like, it's one of those things, right, where it's like, the game is just so good, and that's what I tell everybody, because they watch me play it. Like, I've had a bunch of friends over, right, and I'm just like, hey, give me a minute, and I'm just like finishing up what I'm doing, and I'm just like fishing or whatever, like finishing the inventory up, or like killing the last Cerberus or whatever, and they're just like, what the fuck are you playing? And I'm like, oh, RuneScape. And they're like, the game looks terrible, bro. And I'm like, yeah, I've got a year straight played on this game, and they don't believe me. They look at the game and they're like, how the fuck do you play that when we have things like Modern Warfare and Call of Duty and all this random stuff, Fortnite? And I'm like, this game's just so much better, and just people don't believe me. But like, it's one of those things where the game itself is great. Graphics don't matter at all, honestly.
Honestly, I think it's quite a simple formula that's not very easy to do. I think if you can create a game that is really diplomatically developed, meaning we don't release anything into the game that doesn't achieve a 70% popularity poll rating in game from our players, and so it's very democratic the way that we run the game.
Sounds like a good model for Brexit.
And he has a great point, right? Like, if 70%, it used to be 75, I think, 70% of the players don't agree with what they should add into the game, completely scrapped. Even if they spent development time, they paid people to do the content, people don't like it, it's gone. And that's something I think a lot of games should follow, and that's the reason old school RuneScape was like going up, right? And then it died, or RuneScape in general, then it died, right? And then all of a sudden old school came out, and they let the players decide, and the game fucking skyrocketed to the moon, and it's passing World of Warcraft now.
That would be
no comment. But that's worked really well, and it's helped us stay on the straight and narrow, because who knows better what should be in the game than the people who are playing it all day, every day. And that's proven to be a really great model.
And another thing, all day, every day. He's right. Some of these players are playing 16, 17, 20 hours a day. That's no exaggeration. And I literally, like, no life the fuck out of this game, man. I get 5 hours of sleep a day, partially because I make videos on YouTube. So, like, I wake up at 7 in the morning, right? Say bye to my girlfriend, have a great day at work, right? And then I play RuneScape from about 8 in the morning till 3, making videos, recording videos, and playing the game. Then I work from 3:30 till 1 in the morning, come home, eat, shower, right? Go to bed at 2, wake up at 7 again. That's what I do every single day. And I wish I could play the game more. I feel like I don't have enough time, which is fucking insane, because every night I'm so fucking tired that I just instantly fall asleep, and I used to not be able to. So it's one of those things, right, where I wish I had more time to get to play the game, and I play the game a fucking lot.
On top of that, we charge one subscription price, and you get access to all of the game if you pay it, which is really simple and I think increasingly fresh in today's.
Interesting, because I've never been a console. I think consoles are, like, in my opinion, I know I'm going to get hate for saying this, but I think they're stupid. Like, a computer can do anything. Like, you can just download emulators and do this, so there's no point in buying a console, especially the price of them now. They're like $1,000, and you can, Canadian anyways, and like, you can get a computer for $1,000, or like a decent computer for about $1,000. So consoles are relevant. I don't know why they're still making them, but it's one of those things, right, where basically what he was just saying, he was like saying that there's, like, RuneScape charges one subscription, and they've always kind of done that besides with all the other microtransactions. One of my buddies at work was saying Xbox has this thing where they have a Game Pass or something where you can basically play any game on their store, similar to like Netflix or something, where you can play all of their games like as much as you want, but you have to pay a monthly subscription. Instead of buying a game for $80, you could just play the game, download it or whatever, and then you play it for a little while. You could beat 2 or 3 games in a month easily, right? And then instead of spending like $200, you just spend 15. So it's an interesting thing. Like, the subscription plan definitely works, and I was like, wow, console does that now. You know what I mean?
and you get access to all of the game if you pay it, which is really simple and I think increasingly fresh in today's market, which is quite nice to be able to be in that position. And then finally, I think we have some really clear...
I think what he's saying is a lot of companies just, you have to pay this. This is what it is. I'm talking to you, Nintendo and Apple.
Lines in the sand that we would never transgress with old school RuneScape. No microtransactions ever, and a whole host of other sort of clear rules that I think...
He just said that, right? Like he literally just said no microtransactions ever.
And a whole host of other sort of clear rules that I think our players will all be very familiar with. And just sticking to those, even when it's tough sometimes to accept that content we really want to make isn't the stuff that's desired, it's proven to be quite successful in the long run.
Is there anything about it?
It's like with anything. Like I always say, like there's nothing easy is worth it, and it's pretty much exactly what he just said.
I mean, there's a very unique, specific nostalgia element to that game as well. Is there anything about it that you can apply to RuneScape 3 or any of your other titles?
Yeah, I think Old School is a game that is swimming in integrity, and I think integrity is really desirable, especially today. At least that's my view.
100%. I agree with him completely. When you earn something, you feel like it just makes it better, right? Like it's weird because like a lot of the games you're just like, oh, I can't wait to get to the end of the game so I can finish this boss or do this or do that. But if you could just hop right there, what's the point, right? The actual fun is in the journey, and the RuneScape experience is in the journey. Like 5 to 10% of the players get to the end game, which is a crazy thing. So most of the experience is actually in the journey, right? So I think that's what RuneScape has done well. And they tried to enhance the journey with RuneScape 3 and microtransactions, but people like the actual experience of the grind and the journey. And that's why they like old school RuneScape, and that's why it is thriving so much. And that's why World of Warcraft players are leaving to come to old school RuneScape. I'm going to let you guys finish the rest of the video. I will leave the link down in the description below, but this is an amazing video. Thank you so much to Mod North. I just don't want this video to be like 45, 50 minutes long, but yeah, thank you guys so much.